go ahead and interrupt me. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. So who is eligible for our program? So anyone who is an internationally trained professional. This basically means you have education outside of Canada. It could be a certificate, diploma, even high school is fine, degree, master's, PhD, doesn't matter. As long as you have education outside of Canada, and it could be from a regulated or non-regulated field. And you must have residency status in Canada. So permanent resident, Canadian citizen, or conventional refugee in order to qualify for our program. We cannot assist international students or refugee claimants or individuals on a work permit, just under our funders' guidelines. And you must be a resident of Ontario, and you're internationally trained individuals seeking to have your credentials recognized in Canada or undertaking training for an alternative career or both. So you're either going into a new field or upgrading your skills in your current field. So we have two parts to our program. One is a loan program, and one is the career counseling program. So with the loan program, we are partnered with Meridian Credit Union. That's where we get our loans from. And we can request a minimum of $1,500 to a maximum of $30,000 to help you pay for your training. And the interest rate right now is very competitive. It's 6.5% until the end of December. In January, they'll reassess. It may go up, it may not go up, it may stay the same, it might go down. So we don't know at that time. But at this time, it's 6.5%. And no credit history is required. So you could be a new immigrant to Canada, you landed 5 months ago, and it's fine. You could still apply for the loan. I will just mention they will do a credit check. So if you've lived in Canada 10 years, for example, and you're applying for this loan to help pay for your training, they will do a credit check. And a repayment is from 1 year to a maximum of 5 years, depending on how much you borrow. So if you only need $5,000 or less, you have to pay it back in 1 year. 5 to 10,000, 2 years. 10 to 15,000, 3 years. 15 to 20,000, 4 years. And then 20 to 30,000, you have 5 years to pay it back. And I have to stress, it is a loan. So the repayment does start 30 days after receiving the money. So for example, if you receive the money on December 1st, January 1st, you'll have to start doing the repayments on a monthly basis. And you will get continued support from myself throughout the whole repayment process. And once you're done your training, I'm also here to help you find a job. So that's the one-on-one career counseling part where I'm here to assist you in finding employment. So I will help with your resume, cover letter, mock interviews, and job search assistance until you've secured a job in your field. So these are the eligible expenses under the loan. So qualification assessment fees, association and examination fees, tuition, books and material, short-term bridging program, travel expenses, living expenses, and a new career path in an alternative career. So in going through all of this, you can request just, for example, just tuition, or you can request, a laptop, anything like that you might require in regards to your educational needs. And once you submit the documents to Meridian Credit Union, and we will submit it to the one that is closest to your home, these are the documents you will need for them. A social insurance number, valid ID, $1 to open up a bank account, because once you request the money, for example, if you're asking for like $10,000 to pay for your education, they will deposit that money into the bank account that you open up with them. You use the money to pay for your fees, tuition, books, laptop, etc. And then on a monthly basis, you'll pay it back into that bank account. Address verification, notice of assessment. So again, if you're a newcomer to Canada, you won't require this, but if you've lived in Canada over a year, you will have to provide your notice of assessment. Bank statements, at least 3 months of bank statements you'll have to provide. And then any Visa card, credit card, line of credit, if you have a mortgage, all of that information will have to be provided to the bank. And if you are employed, you'll have to provide a letter of employment and 2 recent pay stubs. If you're not employed, for example, if you're on Ontario Works or Ontario Disability Support Program, you would have to provide those documents. And if you're unemployed completely and you don't have any form of income, you would have to use a co-signer in your application who is employed and who has good credit, and they would need to provide a letter of employment and 2 recent pay stubs. So I just have to stress there has to be some form of income when you're applying for this loan. So if you're unemployed, that's okay. As long as you have a co-signer who is employed and who's willing to co-sign on your behalf, you can go ahead and apply for the loan. If you need $10,000, let's just say your program is a little bit more expensive. You have 3 years to pay this off. Again, the interest rate is fixed at 6.5%. Your monthly payments will be $306.49 every month for 3 years, and the total interest on $10,000 is only $1,034. And again, this amount, the total interest, is included in your monthly payments of $306.49. And I'll do 15,000.
Which is so great, 6.5%. Now, like everywhere, it's like 9 something.
Exactly, because prime right now is 7.2, and the bank never gives prime. They always are like prime plus 2% or prime plus 1.5% because they need to make money as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, so you're paying a minimum if you go to a bank at least 9% or more. And if you put it on a credit card, you're paying like 21%. It's way too high.
Exactly.
Yeah. So $15,000, it's $355 a month. $355.72 a month every month for 4 years, and your total interest on $15,000 is $2,075. And I'll just do the maximum in case anyone needs 30,000. You have 5 years to pay this off. Your monthly payments will be $586.98 every month for 5 years, and total interest for $30,000 is $5,219. So it's very low for $30,000.
Yes.
So those are just some examples. You want to put more money, you want to put like $400 or $450 every month, go ahead and do that. It's an open loan. You can pay it off sooner and you'll save on the interest. But the minimum you have to pay is this amount every month if you're seeking $11,000.
So let's say if they pay off earlier, there's no penalty.
No penalty. Yeah, it's an open loan, so no penalty. You'll save on the interest, and it's just better for you, I guess, if you can afford it.
And that, after the person has been here for a couple of years, they would no longer be considered as newcomer. So are they still qualified?
They are, because it's not for newcomers, it's for internationally trained professionals. So you could have had your degree 20 years ago from outside of Canada, and now you're like, okay, I need to start a new career and I want to go back to school. And it's fine because you have education outside of Canada.
Wow, okay, that's so great. And usually how long is the process of getting approved?
10 business days. So from the time we submit it to the bank, within 10 business days, you should know whether or not you're approved. But again, it also depends on the individual and how quickly they provide the documents to the bank. It's most of the time the delay is on the individual. They have
what do we do with that?
Cosigner. So if the individual has bad credit, most of the time they will disclose, I don't have good credit. Then I will say you will need to have a cosigner in your application who does have good credit, and it should be okay in that situation.
Okay.